welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down a pretty surprising playbook for power, and we're going to do it by looking at two worlds that could not be more different. One runs on nuclear weapons and absolute control, and the other, it runs on likes, shares, and algorithms. You're going to be shocked by what they have in common. So, on one side, you've got Kim Jong-un, the leader of North Korea. He controls a nuclear-armed country of 25 million people. And on the other side, you've got Jeff Rose, a social media entrepreneur who's planning to make almost $500,000 this year from his content. I mean, on the surface, these two have literally nothing in common. But as we're about to see, their actual strategies for influence, they're remarkably similar.
Okay, so let's get into it. Every single leader, and it doesn't matter if you're running a country or just a social media page, you face the same basic problem. How do you get power, and how do you keep it?
And for Kim Jong-un, man, this dilemma is a big one. You got to remember, he went to school in Switzerland, so he's seen the modern world. The big question for him is, does he try to become a legitimate leader, or does he just stick with the brutal criminal regime that his dad and his granddad built? We're talking about a choice between two totally different futures.
And the stakes here are just huge. We're talking an estimated $2 billion a year that flows into his regime from stuff like guns, drugs, and cybercrime. And this isn't just government money, you know. It's basically his personal piggy bank. If that cash dries up, the whole system he's in charge of, it just can't function, period.
Now let's flip over to the influencer, Jeff Rose. For him, the dilemma is all about scale and speed. I mean, think about it. He has to crank out over 20 pieces of content every single day, all just to keep the social media algorithms happy. So how on earth do you do that without totally burning out?
And here's the real kicker. The average shelf life of a single Facebook post is, what, less than a week? It just dies off. So that creates this constant grinding pressure to make something new, something fresh, all the time. So how do they solve these problems? Well, it turns out both Kim and Jeff have the same solution. They delegate. They find tools to handle all the difficult confrontational parts of the job, you know, the dirty work.
For Kim Jong-un, his tool isn't an it, it's a who. It's his younger sister, Kim Yo Jong. She's the one who gets her hands dirty. She handles all the public attacks, the threats, the real aggression.
So she basically plays the bad cop, right? She's the one bashing South Korea and the United States. And what that does is it lets her brother cultivate this image of being a kinder, gentler, more modern leader. He gets to stay above the fray, looking all calm and collected.
So, how does this same idea play out in the world of social media? You know, where the fight is for attention, not territory. What's an influencer's dirty work? And what kind of tool do they use for that? Well, for an influencer, the tool is a piece of software. There are programs like Post Planner that let people like Jeff systematically figure out what's working for their competition. I mean, they can see everything. The most liked posts, the most shared posts, the whole shebang. And what's so fascinating here is how this is basically a direct attack, just a bloodless digital one. You find a competitor's post that went totally viral. You use that as your inspiration, you remake it with your own spin, and then you publish it to your audience. You're basically hijacking their success for yourself.
Okay, so this brings us to a core strategy that both of these guys rely on, and it's a big one. The systematic reuse of content that's already proven to work. I mean, why would you create something new when you already know the old stuff gets results?
For Jeff Rose, this is a total game changer. Remember how a post's life is super short? Well, he can just take a piece of content that did really well a month ago, post it again, and chances are it's going to get traction and get him paid all over again. Most people won't even remember they saw it the first time. Now, believe it or not, in North Korea, the exact same principle is at play, just on a much, much longer timeline. For 75 years, the Kim dynasty has been republishing the same core story: their divine right to rule, their absolute power, and the fear you should have of them. This timeline just lays it out perfectly. The power passing from Kim Il-sung to Kim Jong-il and now to Kim Jong-un, it isn't just a simple transfer of power. Each one is a republishing of the same brand of leadership, just for a new generation.
Both of them also get how critical it is to humanize their brand. Kim trots out his wife, Ri Sol-ju, as the Kate Middleton of North Korea and builds theme parks to project this image of a socialist fairyland. Meanwhile, Jeff takes those viral ideas, uses tools like Canva to put his own spin on them, and makes that repurposed content feel personal. So what does all this add up to? Well, you've got two completely different worlds, two leaders with very different stakes, but they are using one surprisingly similar playbook.
I mean, when you lay it all out side by side like this, the parallels are just undeniable. To control the narrative, Kim uses state media. Jeff uses high-volume post scheduling. To humanize the brand, Kim uses his family. Jeff uses his personal voice. To repurpose content, Kim has dynastic succession. Jeff just republishes old viral posts. To delegate the dirty work, Kim has his sister. Jeff has his software. Now look, this is not a moral comparison at all, but tactically, it's absolutely fascinating. So the big takeaway here is this. The basic rules of propaganda, of influence, of controlling the story, they're universal. The mechanics of how you get and hold on to people's attention, they follow the same patterns, whether you're running a country or just a digital audience. It's a really powerful framework, right? And maybe a little unsettling once you see how it all works. Which leaves us with one last thought. Now that you can recognize the playbook, how is it going to change the way you see the politicians, the brands, and all the influencers all around you?